Kirk Simpson, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so let's just start with the easy part of this. What is it about increasing the capital gains tax that concerns you?
I think it really boils down to the fact that I've been around the Toronto ecosystem and the Canadian tech ecosystem since 2009. And during that time, we've made a lot of progress in terms of ability for, in my case, tech entrepreneurs to find capital, to get further investment in their companies, to attract talent up sometimes from the US or to keep talent here. And I would just say the big concern right now is this going to have a detrimental impact to the progress we're trying to make in making Canada a hub for innovation?
So why would this make it less attractive in those specific reasons that you're giving? Like what would practically change for your ability to lure talent or capital to the country?
Well, I think in particular, you just look at the bare fact that any time taxes go up, it takes dollars out of the economy. And so if I'm an angel investor, which I happen to be, and I've got a certain amount of capital that I can allocate into this class of assets, and now I've got to pay further tax on that, then I'm going to have less of an opportunity to deploy that capital into the next startup.
Right.
And I think one of the big concerns that I have is that currently there seems to be a view that higher taxes and government then allocating those dollars into things like AI or superclusters or their own venture-backed funds, et cetera, is a better way to do it than to allow innovators and capital allocators to do it themselves. And I would just argue that, we're in the business of doing this, and we are likely to do it more effectively than the government. And so at this point, with productivity the way that it is, et cetera, we want more capital, not less, flowing into business innovation.
What would you say, though, because part of the government's argument, and I take your point, yes, they are sort of picking and choosing the industries where they're going to put their money and back their horse. But part of the reason they say that they're also doing this is to pass it down to people that need it, obviously, to make the tax system more equitable and to be able to build homes for people that can't afford a home or can't get into the market. So what would you say to that, that this is really about also the affordability crisis we're in, not just what you're talking about?
I think I would first say that I have huge empathy for the desire to fix some of these systemic problems that we have in Canada. I think let's just lay all of our cards on the table. We've got some generational things, some overall societal things that we need to be doing as a country to continue to live the Canadian dream that we're all trying to drive for. So let's just make sure that we're all aligned around that point, that there is a huge desire for this country to really live up to its promise. I think we're really talking about what is the best way to do that? What is the best way to grow the pie such that there's more to allocate?
The government says, again, as you know, that this is a very small number of Canadians, that this is ultimately going to affect people who are very successful and wealthy. And I think we can put you in that category. How do you respond to that? The fact that this is about targeting a group of people that the government believes just aren't paying enough?
Well, there's a lot in that question, right? I think the first thing is there's just a danger of getting into this language of targeting people. Like we want to be driving towards that common view together.
Right.
And so I think anytime we're trying to separate the population is never a good thing in terms of divisive language, et cetera. But I would just say more than happy to pay my fair share. I feel very grateful to be in the position that myself and my family are in. Mm-hmm. But again, I think this comes down to something much more fundamental, which is what is the best way to drive forward the Canadian economy into what we all want it to be, which is fast growing, lots of opportunities for everyone to do well. And we fundamentally believe that more opportunities for capital allocators to be putting their capital into innovation and high growth, we will all achieve greater prosperity. And that's really what this is all about.
So what would you say to Chrystia Freeland then, if you could sit down with her? Because she had lots of conversations, and as you know, there were lots of things on the table. There was, you could have increased corporate taxes, you could have increased the top tax bracket. There were lots of different ways to do it, and this is what they came up with. What would you say to her about how this will affect people like you and others, and what she should be doing instead, potentially?
Well, I think it's important to listen to all stakeholders. And again, I just go back to the main point, which is anytime you're bringing potential risk capital out of the equation, we're going to suffer from that. And right now, we're in a place where we desperately need more investment, more ability to drive innovation within this country to increase productivity, not less. And we will all do better if we can get to that place.
Kirk Simpson, thank you for sharing your thoughts with me. I appreciate it so much.
Thanks for your time.